July 20th, 1944. A single briefcase would change the course of World War II, or so they hoped. By the summer of 1944, it was clear to many, inside the German military, that Adolf Hitler was leading Germany toward total destruction. The Eastern Front was collapsing. The Allied invasion of Normandy had succeeded. Cities were being bombed into rubble. Millions were dead. And Hitler refused to listen to anyone. Inside the German High Command, a secret resistance had been growing for years. Generals, colonels, politicians, civilians, men who had once believed in Hitler and now believed he had to die. They called their plan Operation Valkyrie. The man chosen to carry out the assassination was Colonel Claus von Stauffenberg. He was not a typical conspirator. He was one of Germany's most decorated officers, tall, charismatic, deeply religious. He had lost his right hand, his left eye, and 2 fingers on his remaining hand, fighting in North Africa. He wore a black eye patch. He had every reason to be loyal to Hitler. Instead, he chose to kill him. Stauffenberg believed that killing Hitler was not just a military necessity. It was a moral obligation. "We must prove to the world," he said, "that not all Germans are like him." The plan was elegant in its simplicity. Stauffenberg would attend a military briefing at Hitler's headquarters in East Prussia, known as the Wolf's Lair. He would carry a briefcase packed with 2 blocks of plastic explosive. During the meeting, he would arm the bomb, excuse himself from the room, and walk away. July 20th arrived. Stauffenberg flew to the Wolf's Lair. In the early morning, he was nervous but focused. Before the meeting, he slipped into a bathroom, and with just 3 fingers on one hand, he struggled to arm both blocks of explosive. He was interrupted. An aide knocked on the door. The meeting was about to start. He had only managed to arm 1 block, half the explosive power he needed. He placed the single-armed block in the briefcase and walked into the meeting room. The room was crowded. 24 officers surrounded a large oak table, covered in maps of the Eastern Front. Hitler stood at the center. Stauffenberg placed the briefcase under the table, as close to Hitler as possible. Then he excused himself. "A phone call," he said. "Urgent." He walked out of the building. At 12:42 p.m., the bomb exploded. The blast was enormous. Windows shattered across the compound. The roof of the building was blown off. Smoke and flames poured out of the wreckage. 4 men were killed. Several others were severely wounded. Stauffenberg watched from a distance. Nobody could have survived that, he thought. He jumped in a car, raced to the airfield, and flew back to Berlin to launch the next phase of the coup. But something had gone wrong, badly wrong. After Stauffenberg left the room, one of the other officers had accidentally kicked the briefcase, shifting it behind a thick oak table leg. That table leg absorbed the majority of the blast. Adolf Hitler was alive. His trousers were shredded, his right arm temporarily paralyzed, his eardrums damaged, his hair on fire. But he was alive. In Berlin, the conspirators waited for confirmation. Hours passed. Communications broke down. Some moved forward with the coup, others hesitated. When word reached Berlin that Hitler had survived, everything collapsed. Officers who had supported the plot suddenly switched sides. The SS moved in. Arrests began immediately. Stauffenberg was arrested that same night. He was taken to the courtyard of the Bendlerblock building in Berlin. At 12:30 a.m. on July 21st, just 12 hours after the bomb went off, Stauffenberg and 3 fellow conspirators were lined up against a wall. A single military truck shone its headlights on them. Stauffenberg reportedly shouted his last words. Before the shots rang out, "Long live our sacred Germany." What followed was one of the darkest episodes of the entire war. Hitler ordered a massive purge. Nearly 5,000 people were arrested. Around 200 were executed. Many were hanged with piano wire, filmed, so Hitler could watch the footage at his own private screenings. And yet, the failure of Operation Valkyrie may have had an unexpected consequence. After July 20th, Hitler became consumed by paranoia. He trusted no one. He began overruling his generals on every decision. He moved phantom armies on maps. He refused to allow retreats, even when retreat was the only option. Military historians argue that Hitler's post-assassination paranoia accelerated Germany's defeat. The men who tried to kill him may have helped end the war faster by failing. Claus von Stauffenberg was 36 years old when he died. For decades after the war, he was viewed with suspicion in Germany, a traitor, a man who broke his oath. Today, he is considered a hero, a man who saw evil clearly and chose to act, even knowing the odds were impossible. One briefcase, one oak table leg, and the course of history changed forever. If you want more untold stories from the darkest chapters of human history, subscribe to War Files. You don't want to miss what's coming next.